Right, you should be muted, but they should send a chat.
Hey, you guys, I don't know if you can hear me, but you are all muted. Nobody can hear you.
Huh.
Sorry about that. Thank you for pointing that out. Whoops. Okay.
Yeah, so Margaret, to answer your question, the survey was already completed for this year. So any additional elections, we would have to just manage those,
And the Franklin Tech School is going to be responsible for paying for the October 6th election, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But if we have to have a debt exclusion vote after, we'd be responsible for paying that,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. And this number came about prior to, realizing that we were having the Franklin Tech election and then a potential additional election. There's always a bit of wiggle room, but it's super tight. I would love that number to go up $2,000, but we'll figure it out if that's not able to happen.
So, Julie, you've made it clear that we'll be coming back to re-review some of these, some of these budgets or any of these budgets, if it's warranted. And if we do find out that there is a sum in those funds, it would be great if we could add those to supplement this
As-
budget, or
As of this, do you have the number?
So as of January, there's about $7,900 in the early voting fund. We just have to confirm exactly what we can use it on. My hope is that we can use it for a lot of those mail-in ballots because that is, so that's my hope, is that we could get the postage costs over to there.
Well, right. So this number does not include any of the early voting ballots or the postage costs for that.
Your budget.
The budget numbers here. Yep. That's not the election cost. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'd just like to point out that this does seem to be a very sort of unusual, 50-year storm kind of event where we have a bunch of special elections all coming up at once. And I'm wondering if that might be better handled as sort of a, pay for it out of free cash later arrangement rather than increasing the budget, which then sort of sets a new baseline going forward. You see what I mean? Like maybe keep the budget at about where we want it to be next year and the year after. And if there's extraordinary expenses, deal with it with extraordinary measure.
I just want to say that, I mean, we do that. If there's only 2 elections next year, the budget will go down. We don't leave this. I mean, you can see in the history at the bottom, 21 was 23,000 and then 22 was 17. There must have been less elections that year. Then we went back up, then we went back down. I mean, the budget is based on the number of elections. So the base would not necessarily stay there if there were less elections. And like I said, we were literally just talking about this. I was at a conference today. I just got back a short time ago, and we looked at it one more time and both sat there going, I don't know if this is really going to be enough. And so my thing too was, if we do end up having to have a debt exclusion, having to have another election, then in my mind, that's sort of an unforeseen, that's a good reserve fund transfer. If we don't have enough money to pull off 5 elections in here, if one of them, comes to fruition that we kind of were not planning on, or anything else happens election-wise.
So, I can also elaborate on some of the costs if you'd like. I mean, the maintenance costs of the equipment, and just to give you an idea, the poll pad license fee for the poll pads, we use 3. We use them at town meeting and for election check-in. That's $900 a year. The tabulator maintenance, that's the tabulator that sits on top of the ballot box. We have 2 of them. That's $500 a year. The auto mark, which we're required to have, for ADA compliance is just under $500 a year. So there are some expenses that are annual expenses that go up slightly, but they're fixed pretty much as far as it's something that we have to pay for and factored into that budget.
Any other questions or comments, anybody? Okay, all those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Thank you.
So are those all that you're going to be talking to?
Oh, no, I can
you're-
speak to the others if you like.
Okay.
Or no.
Any more budget line items? Like that's it that are yours, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, you're here. Having glasses troubles today.
So apparently we're not being heard well online, so if we can redouble our efforts to speak into the mics, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you.
10-4.
All right. 1455110. So we're gonna go a little forward in the book.
Like to make a motion to recommend the treasurer collector salaries account number 145-5110 in the amount of 154,193.
Second,
So move for the select board?
Second,
Discussion?
So I've recently made a couple changes. Our amazing assistant treasurer collector is expecting her first child this summer. So she was on track for taking her exam this summer, which there was a $500 on the bonus line for once she's certified. So seeing she will not be attending the school this year and taking the exam, I have removed the the $500 for this fiscal year. I will be putting it back on for next year because she'll then take the exam next fiscal year. And one of the requests she asked was to move from 40 hours a week to 32 hours a week. She would like a day to stay home to cover daycare for the day. So her hours have been reduced down to 32 hours a week. I am currently 35 hours a week. So I added 40 hours to my total because I expect to have to work a couple hours a week while she's out for 12 weeks on maternity leave.
So just slight adjustments in the hours, COLAs
That's pretty much
and
the only
steps. And that's really it on the salary side.
Any questions, anybody? Go ahead, Blake.
Just a question for Sarah. How you doing? Okay, that wasn't my question. Okay. You are temporarily increasing your hours while she is on maternity leave. So next year you'd go back down to the base
Yes.
number of hours a
Yes.
week. Okay,
I just added about 2.5 to 3 hours for 12 weeks or however long she is out, just to bump myself up just so I can cover the office, make sure it's open during all business hours.
so I think that was my question, is that her hours are going to go back up after that 12 weeks? So she'll go back to 40 hours?
Myself or Liz?
What's that?
Are you talking about myself or Liz?
Liz.
Liz?
Yeah,
So as of July 1st, her due date's the end of July, but as of July 1st, she's going to move to 32 hours a week. And she's doing that the whole fiscal year.
okay. I just
And
didn't-
I'm 35 hours a week, but I added 40 hours to my total, just 40 hours, not 40 hours a week.
Okay.
40 hours total so that I could work an extra 2.5 to 3 hours a week just to, yeah.
While she's gone.
Yeah.
Taking one for the
Try to
team.
stay on track of her.
I think it's really important just to kind of note that between Cassie, Sarah, and Liz, they all work very closely together and making sure that things are covered and helping each other out and the things that they can legally do for each other. There are some things that they obviously cannot, but they work really well together. So this was sort of in anticipation of, how do I want to say it? That's why I think it was
Another
really-
argument for.
I think it's really important that we did
Yeah.
what we did for the town clerk, because this is going to help out Sarah tremendously as well, if we can get another body in there to help cover during, illnesses, time off, vacations, conferences, meetings, et
Yeah.
cetera. Makes sense.
Do you think moving is going to, you're going to be able to keep up during the move as well?
I sure hope so. It's going to be interesting. I think we have some things to sort out over there because I cannot see the window from my office, but I'm trying to get like a camera or something so that I can see it. So for the day she is off, or if Cassie is out for the day or at a conference, that I will still have full visibility of a window so I can see when people walk up.
Maybe she'll
Okay.
get two baby monitors for.
All right. Any other questions or comments? No. Ready to vote? All those in favor? That's unanimous, 500.
All those in favor for select board?
Like MRI.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, 455410.
Move that we recommend the treasurer collector expense 145-5410 in the amount of $38,645.
Second.
All those in favor for select board?
Same motion for select board.
Second?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Done.
Which one of you made the motion? Margaret? Oh, okay.
So the major player in this part of my budget is really postage. Postage is a huge player. We got hit really hard with the last update going up 5 cents. And when you send out thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces every year, it does hit you pretty hard. So that's basically the biggest change, is just to cover postage. The other item we have coming up this year is we have a lease on our Pitney Bowes mailing machine. The lease expires in February, next February. I have never personally gone through what it takes or what to expect with a new lease. So I did add a couple $100 for that in anticipation that I'm sure the cost is going to go up. But I've personally never have gone through it, so hopefully it's not too bad. But I did put a little fluff in there just in case it does go up. And then the gas B45, I reached out to them. They're willing again to split it across 2 fiscal years. And of course, it did go up a little bit from the previous year.
Trevor, you had a question, or was that it?
That was my question.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they do it once every other year? Every 2 years, they do it once?
Yes. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor select board?
Like MRI.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Do you do veterans benefits? Okay, let's do that next. 5435410.
Move that we recommend veterans benefits account number 543-5410 in the sum of $16,000.
Second.
No changes here.
don't have it either.
I spoke with the Veterans Association in Greenfield. They are not anticipating any new Deerfield residents to be taking advantage of this benefit. So we are keeping it the same. We still have one person. And this 16,000 will still cover it.
So the 75% is in revenue? The reimbursement amount?
54.
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions?
Just noting that this number could change at any time. So
Especially now.
But that would be unexpected and
that would be
unforeseen.
that would be that's right.
Quite unexpected, though.
All right.
Perhaps.
Any other questions or comments? Guys, all those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor, Select Board?
Like Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Maturing debt, 710-5900.
Like to recommend, like to move that we recommend maturing debt account number 710-5900 in the amount of $563,367.
Second.
Same motion for Select Board.
Second?
What was the figure? Yeah.
It is, oh, do I have the wrong one? I have a sheet that says 563,367.
I do
Okay.
too.
Correct. Yep.
I misheard.
Okay.
So these are just our annual projected debt payments for FY '27. We worked these out with our financial advisor. The wastewater treatment plant debt is split between the wastewater treatment plant 75% and the town budget 25%. Those ones are noted down at the bottom. That's just 25% of the debt payment. And we are also looking to do a $200,000 pay down of the debt on the library before we go back out to borrow again in the fall.
Bam. Good.
So all of these are settled in long-term except for the library, right? Do we know what we think the library payment is going to be once that is, whatever you call it when it's not a band anymore?
Once it's permanently bonded. I do not at this point. We are still need to know exactly what the donations will be from the Tilton Library Fund, and whether they meet their goal or not. I can do some estimates for the next meeting if you like. I just don't have it at this point because I don't know 100% yet what that final figure will be.
I'll take you up on that. If
Yeah.
for next meeting,
Sure.
not, whenever you can get to it in the next couple of weeks,
Absolutely.
that would be interesting to see. But I don't feel like I need that before we vote this, but take your recommendation on what we should pay down. But
I was just going to say, could you make two projections? One, if they meet their goal, and one, if they just give us what they have on hand at the moment, then we'd know
yeah,
worst case scenario.
I was going to ask the same thing. What do they have at the moment? Is it 1.51 million?
Minus whatever expenses they had in raising the money.
I had a question. Do we have an idea? So do we know what term we're going, not rate, because we won't know, but I'm just curious how many years we plan to borrow for, and who do we borrow from? Is it just a normal bond out on the market, or it's not like through USDA or like anything like that? It's just a on-market bond, so it'll be a higher rate. And do we know how long we're planning? 20 years, 30 years, something like that?
I was assuming 20, but
20, okay.
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I personally don't know if that has been 110% decided yet. So that is something that when we have a final figure that we usually kind of weigh that out. I believe, buildings can go up to 40 years. We would never do that on a building like this. But it would likely be, I would probably lean towards a 20-year, but we'd have to look at those numbers to see. And
Jim, do you know, you may not know this, but does the MBLC have a guideline on like you can only borrow for 20 years? Or I seem to recall something, but maybe I'm just making that up in my head.
I don't remember hearing that. It did not come up at our meeting last week.
Christopher, do you have any idea what they were planning?
All right.
I'm curious.
Yes. Yep.
No, that's great. Yeah, we'll wait to see. We'll wait to see those estimates first before we have, I have questions for later.
Do you guys want to wait to vote this until after we have that, or are you happy with this as it is? Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions on this budget line? No. All those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor, Select Board?
Lee Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, next page.
Move that we recommend interest on maturing debt, account number 751-5900, in the amount of $232,725.
That one.
413.7 should be 413.723.
Oh, I'm sorry. Geez. Yeah, wrong. No, 413,723.
Second.
All those in favor?
Same motion for the select board?
Second? Oh, I'm gonna get this right.
All right. So these are just the numbers that
Yes.
that they give. I mean, there's not any much discussion here, right?
Yeah, this is the interest that we have to pay on that principal you just voted on.
Any questions, anybody? No, all those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor, Select Board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, next page.
I move that we recommend interest on temporary loans, account number 752-5900, in the sum of $5,000.
Second.
Same motion for select board?
Second?
Any discussion?
No, this is just sort of a standard item in case something comes up that we had not planned for, if we needed to go out to ban, if we needed to borrow in anticipation of a grant or anticipation. It's always good to have some additional interest there, or if figures, say we're off by a couple dollars somewhere, then you have this that you can use to balance that back out as well. But this is for anything that would be unanticipated, and this has just sort of been a standing item in the budget.
Go ahead, Margaret.
I understand that this is money that could potentially be used to fund a cash shortfall. And with quarterly payments coming in now, how is that? Is that actually working a lot better and your cash flow is pretty steady?
That's
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions, anybody? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor for Select Board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right. 9/11/5400.
Say that again.
9/11/5400. Franklin County Regional Retirement.
I move that we recommend Franklin County Regional Retirement, account number 911-5400, in the amount of $966,440.
Seven.
760.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna. This is my last one. 766,440.
We had a second on that, right, already?
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Same motion for select board?
Second?
Better system.
All right. Discussion?
The top figure is the amount that we will be billed from Franklin Regional Retirement. Then using some payroll records to figure out the offsets, which then leave us with a part of my budget.
Great. So this includes the Deerfield Elementary School retirement as well. This is wrapped into this?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can I ask, so this is the number that we kind of take 4% of for OPEB, correct? Am I just, no?
Health
I thought we,
insurance.
It's health insurance that we do that.
oh,
4%.
not this, but
Not
there's
this.
health insurance on a different
Yep.
line somewhere. Okay, thank you.
Any questions, anybody?
We do the early payments.
All those in favor? Opposed? You have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, I just like, what can we do to reduce it? Anything? But these are people that are already retired, right?
So the total that they base it off of is like a 5-year average of all the salaries. I think the previous 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we have any say in it. They tell us.
So this also, go ahead.
So they're assessing us money, and hopefully that'll match what's needed in the future, right? We're
Until-
being assessed for what?
Until the retirement is fully funded, which is
It's sort of
sometime
like OPEB,
next
but
year.
It is it's
the
exactly.
retirement
Yep.
instead of medical.
Yep. And we should be fully funded in like 2035-ish,
This year?
plus or minus
Yeah.
a year. Yeah.
Oh, so this is catch up also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be done.
The last report I saw it was 2034, 2035, something
Yeah,
like that. I
sounds
don't, I
about
don't
right.
know. Go ahead, Jim.
So, yeah, we're playing catch up here, but there will still be some annual contribution after that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
What would it be on the order of?
Should be smaller.
Sure, but it'll be a lot less.
I'm not sure that anybody's ever really kind of done an analysis of that, but it is all of your current employees and then basically the catch up for all of the retirees. So that would be interesting to see what it would be. I mean, it will be considerably less, but I don't think anybody has a real great handle on exactly what it would be. We can check with the retirement board and see if they have any information on that at this point.
We just have to hold off all those capital expenditures until
Still
2035.
35.
Right.
Well, I think OPEB, this money will roll over and start funding OPEB in 2035 is kind of or whatever that year is.
I think that's, I was literally just in a conference today and one of the things was, one of the classes was on retirement contributions. And that was sort of the consensus in the room is that a lot of folks are planning when their retirements somewhere between 2030 and 2040. I think 2040 is the mandate that the
Yep.
retirement boards have to be fully funded by, and that, the consensus is most folks will then focus on their OPEB.
Any other questions, anybody? Nope. All those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Like Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hill, GI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, next page, 912-5400.
Make a motion to approve workers' compensation account 912-5400 for $55,896.
Second.
Same motion for the select board.
Second?
This is another one where I use payroll records to calculate what we might expect to be charged. I used a 4.5% increase to cover our step increases and COLA, but it's just using the current payroll records to come up with a number.
Any questions, anybody? Go ahead.
Is there no offset for South County Senior Center
No.
because they are considered Town of Deerfield employees?
Well, SCEMS is also Town of Deerfield employees.
Yeah, but it's
think
just
it's
clerical. It'll
because-
be pretty,
Yeah, exactly.
pretty small, I would
Yeah.
think.
It's like how dangerous the job
gotcha.
is,
I see
right?
what you mean.
There is some of that certainly baked into it because obviously South County EMS has a much higher workers' comp rate than the other folks do. I do not know the answer to that question. It's never been calculated before, so I did not calculate it. And I think it would be I think it would be a pretty small amount.
That's my memory of when we've discussed it before, was that it wasn't, yeah, it's not much.
So I have a question about, one of the South County Senior Center employees is driving a bus a lot now
Oh,
and,
good point.
or a van. And I'm not sure who would pay for an accident that caused, physical damage and, so I don't know if we should rethink, this question.
It does depend on when he's driving and for who. We do have, he does some driving for some of the regional transit authority, and we do have a policy set aside for that, or they're covered under that policy. But for the everyday kind of bring somebody to the doctor's appointment or something like that, or on a trip to wherever they're going, we could find out. But I think it has been covered, but I just don't know which it's under.
Can you tell me, this might be a hard question to answer, but what are the FTEs at South County Senior Center at the moment?
It's less than 3.
Yeah, a little less than.
Less than 3. 70 hours, 70 hours. She's full
I
time,
think it's
so it's like
one at
2.8,
40,
I
maybe
would say.
2 at 35 or something like that. I don't know. Somewhere around there.
2 employees at 70 and it's 80.
But they all take health benefits from us? No, good.
Well, actually,
Can't say that.
I can't say that. I don't know that to be true.
Okay. Any others workers' comp questions? No? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
Sorry. All those in favor of Select Board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim LGI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
913, 5400, next page.
I'd like to move to recommend unemployment insurance account number 913-5400 in the amount of 15,000.
Second.
Same motion for the Select Board.
Second.
So this this current fiscal year, we got surprised with an annual fee. We were able to use the current budget to cover it. Plus, we had some credits from Maya. So we have brought back the management company annual fee. We do not know how much it's going to be, and hopefully we'll have some credits also at that point to help cover it. But the unemployment activity has been very low lately, so I kept the budget the same. I felt comfortable just taking out 2,000 to go towards that fee again, and hopefully things will stay quiet.
Any questions, anybody? All those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor of Select Board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim LGI.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Next page, group insurance town.
Move that we recommend group insurance town account number 914-5400 in the amount of $657,511.
All right, I've got 613. Do I have me too?
Yeah.
613, 255.
This one was an old one. So I did actually read it right. The new one is 613-255. Thank you.
Second.
You and me today.
Did we get a second?
We did.
Oh, we
Jim
did.
did.
Oh,
Same motion for the Select Board.
second.
Okay. So we are expecting a 12.48% increase. We are also in the need of implementing some plan changes. We currently do not have a deductible on our insurance plan. So the trust is adding a deductible starting July 1st, in addition to the 12.48%. If we were to not make any plan changes whatsoever, it would have been more at 16%. So the trust did approve that. So originally, I had budgeted 20% because that is what they were expecting at the time. Our trust has a new group that's in charge of us at the moment while we do not have a director. And they have done a fantastic job trying to get costs down and figuring out pharmacy plans and what have you. They are doing a great job. So we have got it down from 20% to 12.48. Last summer, when the trust started to struggle, we moved forward with trying to come up with a backup plan. We finally just recently got numbers from Maya, and they came in at 13.5%, and at a higher deductible. So we're actually in better shape, staying where we are.
Any questions, anybody?
It was too early to get a number from GIS, right? We just felt like the timing was too tight. Or GIC, sorry.
We didn't
never did
really,
Get numbers, right?
yeah,
Yep.
didn't consider that one.
Okay.
Like always, I always include a buffer. It's been 60,000 for many years. A few years ago, that covered a lot more plans just in case we hired somebody, someone has a baby, gets married, yada, yada. Right now, 60,000 only covers 2 of the most expensive family plans. So sounds like a lot of money to have as a buffer, but it really doesn't cover that much change. And I don't know what to expect. Oh, so a new added line is right in the middle. It says placeholder for mitigation, 25% of savings at $8,759. We are currently going to make the plan changes. We have to go through the unions, and part of the ruling is that if we made no plan changes and we would have been at 16%, to doing the lower 12.48 with plan changes, the total savings, employee and employer side, 25% of that total has to go back to the subscribers. So that is a placeholder for what we are expecting that amount to be.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is the mitigation just for this year?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
One question I had was the buffer that you have, is that already included in the 838 number on the very
Yeah.
top line? So you already have
Yeah.
you have the cost and then you put some
Yeah.
money in. Okay. good.
Exactly.
Yep.
I might be jumping ahead here, but is there any indication of the ongoing solvency of the Hampshire group from this point out? Have they, I mean, this year, you've obviously been able to work it out, but do you have any indication as to solvency after this coming year? Or will you be looking at other options?
I don't think so. The group that's currently taken over has done a fantastic job, and they have a lot of resources, a lot more resources, it seems like, to keep the costs lower or as low as possible. They obviously are keeping in mind, they're trying to build the reserves back up because they've practically exhausted everything. So even the 12.5%, it's also to try to build the reserve back up to put us in a better position. But we have felt pretty good with who's taken over at the moment.
Anybody else? No. All those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Blake Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchey, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Next page. Group insurance school.
I move that we recommend group insurance school account number 914-5410 in the amount of $1,102,846.
Second.
Same motion for the select board?
Second.
All same figures, everything same here. For the school, I've just been keeping the buffer at 50,000, a little bit less than the town. There's a lot more come and go with the school employees. So you really can't estimate what's going to happen over there. But I would say enrollment is a little lower than it has been. So I think that's why the numbers aren't too, or the increase isn't too high.
Any questions, anybody? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so does this reflect the decrease in staffing that the school board was talking about?
It does not. I'm not aware or told or who or what, because I also can't or say who has insurance and who doesn't.
Sounds like that's something we ought to find out.
Yeah. We can't find out who has
haven't been
insurance.
told
You
who's
can find
leaving
out
or,
if
yeah.
there's going to be fewer people. Like, you don't need to
Yeah.
tell us who or anything,
Yeah,
but
just
you could look at it
number.
and say. So I think it would, there's one teacher position is going to be reduced. And that's going to be like a person actually leaving employment. And there's a part-time PE teacher that's also going to be losing their employment. So there's one and a third-ish people leaving, but that would probably go back into the buffer if that person has insurance. Is that your thought, or?
I support this because I understand that any funds that are appropriated to this budget line in the coming year and left unexpended will revert to free cash. But we also, also taking into account the labor market at the moment, there could be qualifying events that cause people to have to get on the town's insurance mid-year. And maybe the risk of that is a little bit higher now, given the state of the economy and the labor market. So probably better to have that little buffer in there. In my opinion.
Agreed.
Any other questions or comments? No, all those in favor? It's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Lee Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Next page, Medicare insurance.
Move that we recommend Medicare insurance account number 916-5400 in the amount of $133,454.
Second.
Same motion for select board?
Second.
Mine's from January.
Any discussion?
These figures are just using payroll records from the previous calendar year and just adding a 4.5% increase to cover rate increases. And we aren't expecting too many new hires, so I kept it at the 4.5%. But it's just based off of where we currently are.
So does this have a buffer built into it also at all, or?
Just the 4.5%, that's it, to cover increases in rates, salaries.
And this is town and school together?
This is, yes.
Town and Deerfield Elementary. And
Yes.
Frontier's their own thing, but
Yep.
Why doesn't SCEMS have Medicare?
It's on their own budget, I guess.
They get charged directly each payroll to their budget. They have their figure right in their budget.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? That's unanimous.
All those in favor for select board?
Like Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
Okay, now we're gonna go backwards, 9, 10, 5,800.
Move that we recommend unfunded sick leave and vacation, account number 910-5800 in the amount of $10,000.
Oh, this isn't you?
It's not me.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aye.
I'm sorry, did we get a second? I didn't write it down.
But for 910-5800, I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Okay.
Same motion for select board?
Second,
Any discussion?
It's down. That's nice.
Yeah, so Christopher and I briefly discussed this a while back. And at this point, there's only one retirement that we're aware of that will likely happen in FY27.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous?
All those in favor for select board?
Like Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye.
All right, let's do minutes and then we'll do public comment if anybody has public comment, and then we'll go on to the rest of our stuff. So, Jim?
I move that we accept the corrected minutes from March the 9th.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstain? All right, that passes 401. Does anybody have public comment that you'd like to make? So if you do, come on up to the microphone. We don't usually have people come to finance committee. It's kind of fun.
I'm Jenny Allard. I live in Whately, and I don't know if this is the appropriate time.
Just speak into the microphone really well because people online can't hear us. but-
We're here in support of the new proposed senior center. And we just want to say it's a unique opportunity. We believe that if this opportunity goes by the board, we're not going to get another one like this for a very long time. We've been looking for a permanent home for our senior center for years and years and years, for decades. And this appears to us to be the ideal situation where we can acquire a great building in perfect shape, in a nice location, on a bus route, with outdoor space. They even said we could have a community garden. There's a lot of advantages, and we just would like to have community support. I know with taxes in question, I know Deerfield's taxes, Whately, all of them have gone up substantially. We're told in this situation, taxes would go up $50 a year. And I think that's a huge bargain. We just are trying to rally support and get people on board. And that's basically why we're here. And we're, yes,
Could you just spell your name for me?
JenniAllard.
A-L-L.
The other thing.
And you
that-
said you're from Whately, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we're
okay.
Whately. The other thing we're noticing is that people are very misinformed or uninformed about the senior center. We do not only play bingo. There are tons of services they provide: nutritional programs, exercise programs, health programs, fun activities, field trips, all sorts of things. There are 750 members, active members right now. And I'm sure if we had a great facility, it would grow substantially. Isolation is a huge factor for seniors. It's a real health risk and people need support. And I started out supporting the senior center, but now I'm just supporting seniors. I think we get the short end of the stick. The schools get millions, the libraries get millions, the roads, everything gets millions of dollars. And for us to have a $50 tax increase would not make people's life that difficult. So that's what I have to say about it. And I just hope that I hope that it's on the agenda for the town meeting so people can actually vote. We need to hear it out. And I think once this opportunity goes by the boards, we're going to be looking for decades to come. So I hope we can materialize a great place for all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, come on up.
Hi, John Cunningham, Gormaki Avenue. I'm not necessarily against the senior center option that they're in favor of if there are indeed only 3 options and only one Deerfield option, which I can't imagine. I think it's a lot of money for a long time to spend beyond the town boundaries, and I'm just unabashedly IMBY in my backyard. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Do you need a name spelling? Are you good?
Cunningham is spelled the usual way. Yeah, and you're in Deerfield? And you're from, okay.
Any other public comment? Nope. Anybody online? No. Okay. Next up. Oh, we have a hand. No, that's just the mouse. Yeah. Christopher, actually, you did have your hand up earlier. Do you have a comment you want to add? No.
Muted, are you?
Oh, probably the hearing problem. Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense.
Got one more.
It does. Oh, yep. Come on up.
Hi, Lisa Armstrong, Deerfield. About the senior center, the $50 a year increase is based on if you have a home valued at $450,000. This is the approximation for it. What's happening with the senior center now is that the activities are based in all the towns. There's aerobics in one place, yoga in another place. If they're having a big meal, it's in another place. This building opportunity puts everything together under one roof, which would actually decrease some of the expenses for travel. One of the things, I don't personally take advantage of it, but I'm so impressed with that they make food available to seniors that need help with food. They just do a number of things. And this really is not, it only increases the amount that's in the budget now by approximately $50 a year. So, and yes, it is not in Deerfield, but it's just down the road. So I think it's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for the comments and the input. We don't have any budget line items from previous meetings. So the other thing, it's actually probably a good segue. Can I share? No. Okay.
My Zoom up.
Now I should be able to share. Uh, It's not working. Okay, there we go. What I want to do quickly is to just run through, there are a couple options within Deerfield for buildings that might be possible for a senior center. I'm not necessarily recommending one or the other. What I would like us to think about is if those buildings were made available to the senior center, what would the rent be? And what would the cost to the senior center be? So this goes through and looks at some of the options for buildings, starting off with just recognizing that the senior centers, we've already heard this just now from our people who came up and spoke, that the senior centers serve an important role in the towns. They provide socialization, they provide services to seniors. We're at about 20%. I think it's a little shy. Last time I did the numbers, I think it was 17% of the seniors in the 3-member towns have used the South County Senior Services, South County Senior Center services at least once this year. So, you know, we're approaching 20%, which feels pretty good. The South County Senior Center staff, I do believe this would be more effective if they did not have to travel between locations, if they could be just in one spot. And they would probably be more effective if they have more space than they have right now. So I am good with all of that. There are several options. One is their current situation, which is 22 Amherst Road. That building is about 1,800 square feet. And then they also use several different locations for different things that they do. There's the 112 Amherst Road, which is a Delta Sand and Gravel owned building. That's if they're able to use all 3 floors of the building, it's 10,635 square feet. There's some question about whether with the current elevator, they'll only be able to use the first 2 floors, in which case it's a little over 7,000 square feet. There is the meeting house, the 1821 church building, whatever you want to call that building. Right now, as is, it's 3,306 square feet, which is the space that the library was in. So it's the sort of fellowship hall. There's an office and there's a kitchen and there's an accessible bathroom, that piece. And then if we were to renovate the side that used to be the sanctuary of the church, the entire building is 6,556 square feet. And then the fourth option is this building right here, the current Deerfield Town offices, which is this side of it is about 12,000 square feet that would be available. There are pros and cons to each of the buildings, and then some things that need to be figured out. I emailed this out to everybody, and I don't really, unless you all want to, I don't really want to go through the pros and cons of each building. I feel like we at least are familiar with these. I do want to comment that I'm not trying to push Deerfield's options on the senior center. These are just the options that we have available that we know about, and there may be options in the other towns that are possible too. So I spoke with like 100 people, but I talked with primarily the DPW soup, the town planner, some of the select board, a whole bunch of people. But the numbers that we got, what it would cost us for these buildings. So the 1821 church building, it would cost us about $2,500 in grounds and mowing, about $1,000 in snow removal for the meeting house, because there's no parking lot specifically associated with that building. So that $1,000 pretty much just covers shoveling that building out when it snows. There's $5,000 in our budget right now for building repairs, and then $2,500 in insurance. So that's a total of $11,000 that it costs us to operate that building. The utilities are separate, and the utilities would be paid separately, and that's on another page when we get to that. The 8 Conway Street, this building, the grounds and mowing is about the same value, 2,500. Snow removal is 3,500. That includes the parking lot. Building repairs, if we put $10,000 a year into it in building repairs, that would, right now, there's about 2,000 a year in that. So 10,000 would allow us to do a little bit more each year. There's 5,000 in insurance that we're paying. So that's 21,000 total in maintenance. So coming up, and we can come back to the rent. I'm going to go do utilities for a second, and then I'll come back to the rent. So if we look at the utilities for those buildings, the meeting house building, we looked at the bills for last year when the library was in there. So it's $5,000 for a year's worth of electricity. The oil was actually $3,000 last year, but they started with a full, like the tanks were full when they started, and they also moved out in March, whenever they moved out. So we estimated $5,000 for oil and gas, and then the water and sewer. These are the water and sewer bills for last year. So, and then we assume that for the full building, it pretty much doubles in square footage. So we just doubled the estimate for electricity and gas, oil for that. So that gives you a utility cost for each of those buildings. 8 Conway Street, the electric meter, there's only one meter for the whole building, and we've got the police in the other side of the building. Their bill last year was just shy of $30,000. But we figure that the police probably use more electricity because they have, I don't know what, all sorts of radios and stuff that they're charging. So the estimate was 1/3 of that should be for this side of the building. Gas, natural gas for heat, same deal. There's only one heating system. It provides for both sides of the building. We figured that goes pretty much on square footage, and the police department is about 1/4 of the square footage. So 3/4 of that gas bill would be charged on this side, and that was right about $10,000 last year. Water and sewer, we figured just half and half. So this is half the water and sewer bills for the previous year. So that's a total utility cost of $19,700. So here's the question that I'm looking for feedback on. So one idea is that meeting house is available now. They could move in tomorrow if they wanted to. It would give them a little bit more space, about at least half, again, close to double the space that they have right now, with a little more separation between, like the office is a closed off office. It would have a kitchen, whatever. So we could offer that to them if we wanted to at exactly what it costs us. So $11,000 until the renovations are done. The problem is that they would be living in there while, if the renovations passed town meeting while those renovations were happening. And then I have no idea what, I just made this number up. I don't know if you have any advance notice as to what the renovations would be required. So what is planned right now that's going before town meeting is to renovate the steeple and do the engineering required to upgrade the sanctuary. The sanctuary floor has a I forget what the rating, but there's a certain per square foot weight that is allowed when you have fixed pews. But if we pull the pews out and let people walk around wherever they want, then you have to increase the weight bearing ability of the floor. So there is some structural work that has to go into the sanctuary side if we want to use it for just sort of general meeting instead of sitting politely in your pew. And I have no idea what that amount is. Go ahead.
All right, so are you basing the future rent calculation on the utility costs plus whatever the cost of the upgrades annually? Like,
I'm not including the utilities. They would pay the utilities.
okay, oh, I see.
So
Okay.
rent is only for the building.
Got it.
They pay the utilities. Yeah, so there's a third sheet here, which
So-
is all in rent plus utilities gives you all in for a year for
Okay.
that building. which
So
we'll look at
I
when we're
mean,
done.
to say rent, there's rent, because I know that 112 Amherst Road requires rent. And
Right.
then with Deerfield's buildings, we're really looking at each community paying their apportioned share of upgrade costs, whatever it is we have to put into the building. Is that, because we wouldn't be charging rent per se?
No, we would charge rent. We charge rent for SCEMS.
Okay,
The South
so,
County EMS building, we charge SCEMS rent for that building.
okay.
But so would
S-
the rent be based on essentially the principal and interest for paying down whatever we have to borrow to do the work?
That's my question kind of to you.
That's
Is that
yes.
what
Or
it,
turn it into a profit center?
Yeah, no, I don't, personally, I'll speak for myself. I don't think it's appropriate to turn into a profit
Well,
center for
We
a
could
regional
pay-
service.
We could
So-
spend money on scams and then collect it in rent.
So I would be supportive of the rent being the equivalent of the principal and interest that we would owe on the building itself. I just, I have a hard time, never mind. I have the same question as Jim on that.
okay. So you think, so
If we had to borrow $1 million.
yeah, that it could be, so for that building, it could be CPA funds and if there was enough in the fund, then it wouldn't be principal. But you're right. We could come up with a number, which is what it costs us essentially to do that. Do you have, you look
I
like
was
you
just
wanna
going to say
something.
that we might get more information once, if town meeting approves the steeple and engineering study, then that would give us further numbers about the cost of fixing the floor, the cost of putting in a new electric system, the cost of putting in whatever new heating system would be. Those are the things they're going to look at. Doesn't mean that they would all be done at the same time. So that $1 million is a guess. Yeah. And I don't know that other communities' CPA funds could be used to repair a building. I don't think so. But if the senior center uses the existing side that's repaired, I would still argue that we should let the taxpayers decide whether to spend CPA money to finish the historic renovation of the sanctuary side, whether we end up using it as a community meeting space or whatever the future use is. So I don't mean to confuse the issue.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I think that actually it clarifies something though, is that there is intention to go ahead and renovate the building and make it usable and not fall down, regardless of whether South County Senior Center occupies it.
Yeah.
So this is money we're going to be spending anyway.
If it gets approved at town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this coming up, this upcoming annual town meeting? Is
To
it
do,
on
to do the
warrant for that?
steeple work is CPA funding is in there for doing the steeple work, and then an engineer needs to see what's required for the flooring to shore that up.
For the May
um,
meeting.
For
Yep.
yeah, for the sanctuary building, part of the building.
Yeah.
I'm not, when I want to thank you for the work you've put into it. It's a lot of work. And it's trying to figure out, so what do we do? And exactly, these are options that we have out for us. I know a lot of people's hearts are set on a building they could just move into. As I said in one of the presentations, the problem with moving to 112 is that it has to be fit into an operating budget and not a debt exclusion.
Yeah.
That's challenging, especially in a year for Sunderland where they're struggling. They're going to have to do an override just to try and fund the schools, let alone anything else at a huge number. So it's just a hard year to try and do that for 3 communities to move in. All that said, the the building that is there, it just isn't adequate for a senior center. Now I get like we're in a small place, which is not adequate now. But and it doesn't have good parking. This one doesn't have good parking. I'm curious to see how the meeting goes on the 30th, where we can get the 3 towns together to kind of talk this out respectfully, to say, where are we? What's the future plan? And these are great options to say, hey, if we want to go somewhere in the meantime where we plan something, this is an option, this building is an option. Is there an option, some other building somewhere else in town? Now, we've done a lot of studies recently on, you know, hey, if we had tons of money, where would we go? What would we do based on the square footage that the senior centers need? And there's a need and a want, right? I mean, you want to have as much space as you can get. You do need enough parking. You do need a lot of things that go into a senior center. I mean, we've made do with the buildings that we've had, and I think the seniors have been asking for a lot of years since I've been on the Board of Oversight for a building that is worthy for them to have a space to do their needs, exercise and all of that goes around that. But it's a struggle to find the money for it. So this is important work. I just set the floor like we are a 3-town entity, and we have to respect the other towns and what they want and what they can afford. And we're in partnership. So sometimes the other towns feel Deerfield pushes that, pushes where we need to go. We want to just do it all respectfully together. And I know that's not an intention by any means, but people feel that. They're like, and that's not what this is. I know that's not where you're coming from. You're coming from, if this doesn't pass, what are you going to do? If you don't have the money in Sunderland, I mean, we don't either, but I feel like we could come up with a way, but that's just us. It's the other towns that have to do it. So it's important work to say.
When Jen presented the 112 Amherst Road thing to the Finance Committee, one of the things she said was that, like, you could go in this building, but we have no idea how much it would cost.
Correct.
Or how much space we would have. And I want them to have that, like,
That data.
this is an option and this is how much it would cost you.
Right, exactly.
Right. And then
Yep.
like, you can decide
Right.
what,
We're
because there's
forcing.
pros and cons to every one.
There
And
is.
there's,
There is.
like you said, the church building is not the 12,000 square feet that they're 17,000 or whatever
Right.
it is that they're looking for.
It's more than
But
what they have.
it's, if you were to go in there, this is how much it would cost.
Yep.
Um,
It's important.
so,
Question?
yeah, go for it.
Deerfield is approximately responsible for approximately 50% of the.
54, yeah, right around
Are those
54.
54% or is that?
No, that's 100%.
Good.
That's 100%. So the meeting house, what I'm hearing is, are you guys okay with the 11,000 while repairs are going on? And then this rent number, the 40,000, would be the 11,000 plus some sort of recapture of the money that we put into the building? Is that what you're? Let me throw another thought out there, and then you can go, Margaret. So SCEMS, the South County EMS building, their rent is $36,000 for the South County EMS. 3/4 of that is put into a fund that is there to fund repairs and upgrades to the building. 1/4 of that stays in the Deerfield budget, and that covers the work that DPW puts into mowing and plowing and
Light bulbs.
whatever.
Any small repairs.
Any small repairs, that kind of thing. So if we approached a similar thing, the 11,000 would be what covers our costs, and then kind of, so I guess it would be 44 if you made the 11,000 1/4 of what it costs.
You have answered one of my questions. Thank you. As far as South County EMS rent, that's good to know. And it almost seems like a really reasonable framework moving forward with the South County Senior Center. What about any you said a portion of South County EMS's rent comes to the town to cover other items. Is there any administrative work that would have to be covered in addition, or other work in addition to these 4 items that you could think of, or is it
I
really?
think there already is a administrative, like the senior center does get charged, right? And already an administrative charge.
Yeah, there's already an indirect cost
Indirect cost,
calculation,
thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that wouldn't have to be added.
It may get adjusted a bit depending on, because there's a dollar amount that gets factored in. So if there's more rent, I think that it goes into the formula somehow, but so it may go up a little bit, but not a dramatic amount, I don't think.
Oh, you didn't have something to say. You're just preparing a case.
I just didn't want to be that far away from microphone. No, it's always, the indirect cost is always just a conversation between Jen and in the past Brenda to figure out, what grants are coming in, what kind of administration needs to happen with that. So it kind of changes year to year.
Yeah.
And that would not be, this is just the building, just
Right.
rent for the building. So, yeah. Go for it.
Could we go back to the slide that shows electricity as well?
Yep.
Well, actually, rent plus electricity. I think it might have been your last slide. So when we look at this one, can we even do 218,539 without a Prop 2.5? Is that even on the table?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. The issue is that we always wind up with, like, we say we don't have the money, right? We always kind of say that. We always wind up with the money, and we always wind up with like between $1 and $2 million in free cash every year. So if we had to tighten belts, we could, but I don't think any of the other, I mean, I know Sunderland is not in the position this year. And I don't think it's a smart, I mean, I do think, we're going to have a lot of revenue from the solar thing in a year or so. There's going to be revenue coming in, and there's always a way to kind of make it work. And I think and again, the Prop 2.5, I've always been saying we need to adjust how we fund our town. We keep, cutting the bone every year, and we just, it's been more than 20 years and we haven't adjusted how we do it. So yeah, for right now, I don't think, we don't have it in this budget, like, right? I mean, it's in this number, I think, is it in the bottom line right now? But we're still over, right? So we still have to cut something. If you were to
Last
make
week,
this work.
we were looking at what, 175,000 in the hole, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so we're
Right
like
around there.
107, so, and we haven't done snow and ice yet.
With
Yeah.
no snow and ice and no capital, we're
Correct.
175,000.
So really, there isn't in the budget, but
There's another what?
$50,000 in free cash?
Right.
Oh, yeah, this is where in.
Yeah.
So that's my first concern. The second one is, we're not actually buying the building. So, we're gonna get hammered on the electricity, and then the rent, depending on how you calculate this, like just looking at this from a fiscal responsibility perspective, we have one option that's more than 2 standard deviations away from the others. Like this is the 112 is just wildly different, and like it would be an easier pill for me to swallow if some of that was a capital expenditure. We can't do a debt exclusion on that. We have to do a Prop 2.5 override if we do it this year. If we do it in future years, we're probably still staring down the barrel of a Prop 2.5 override, and that utility cost is just huge. So I don't know. Like when I see that we've got 2 other buildings that are next to it, if we didn't have 2 other buildings, fine. But from like if we were, I see you, Trevor, but if we see you, Tim, if we were any other business, not a municipality, and we had like a fiduciary responsibility to like acquire a building, we wouldn't be able to do the 112 Amherst Road option. We like that's just fiscally irresponsible. So I don't know. I have a really hard time with this.
one thing I would just say, you don't have 2 other buildings that are like the other, right? So it's not comparing apples to apples. You have 2 buildings, but they're nowhere near what your needs assessments have told you time and time again. So they're not adequate. So they are buildings and they are available, but they don't meet the needs of the senior center from all the studies that we've done. So sure, it's expensive, but again, when are the seniors going to have their time? I mean, it's been so many years. We've been really trying to find, and they've always sat back and they said, great sewer, school roof, town garage. Like, we have never given them what they need, and they're not asking for I mean, yes, it's an oddball thing because it's not a capital thing. So you have to fit it into a budget. So it's a struggle.
Yeah, I
it's
feel like I'm
hard.
being misunderstood here. I'm not saying no to
You're
seniors.
not. I know.
But if we've got two buildings that may not even be perfect and we can find a better option than 112 Amherst Road, I would rather wait it out for a year and see what happens. Like, I know we could potentially lose the building. That building has sat vacant for a while at the same time. I would rather invest capital into a building that does meet the needs than to have something with like, I mean, we've talked in circles about this over the last year, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but something that, is a single floor, meets the needs. We're not ramming a square peg into a round hole and not taking on a huge 218 plus as the years go by, operational expense each year.
Tim, and then John, and then me.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that, it's a great idea that we have, that we're going to be meeting as a select boards and finance committees of the three towns involved in this on the 30th of March. So people who are interested should come. I will also say that if you've been reading the Recorder, local news media, Sunderland is facing an override. If it's not approved, they're going to cut their budgets by 20%, up to 20%, which means if you just think about it in terms of police or fire or teachers, 20% of the teachers are going to disappear. It's a big thing for them. So it may not be a question of whether one is, it could just be, look, your neighbor is going to bankrupt themselves by doing something that everybody agrees. I want to credit the senior center, Boo, and I want to credit the senior center director, advocacy and improvement in programming. And I fully agree that, isolation is a big problem for people, and your life's quality of life is so much greater when you're interacting with people. I think that the March 30th is going to be a great opportunity to talk about these things, and the solution we arrive at may not be the perfect one, but we will arrive at something that will work for the senior center, at least for the next 5 years. So, and if 112 Amherst is the way that people want to go, we're going to have to work out some details, like what is the real contracted figure? What is the real cost of being in there? Can we use the third floor? These are all questions that are totally unresolved. And to my mind, that's the biggest cons right now, is what we don't know about what it's going to cost to be there.
Do we have, right now we have estimates on the Meeting House and 8 Conway Street. Do we have additional details at this point as far as building studies? Has there been any more work on these two buildings, or this building in particular?
I don't believe so. No, there's some work to do, because I think even in here, the reason we're moving out, like, is like it's old for us too. But I think that, like, we talked, the windows on this side should I mean, whatever we put in here, it gets so baking hot. You're probably in a tank top all the time because it's so hot in there. But just some maintenance to, like. So we probably need to add a few things, and I know,
So if,
Isn't that in the 100,000?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, we really just don't have an idea at this point.
We had some studies,
So
too,
if-
right?
But
yeah. Let me say something else first, and then we'll get to studies. So if we talked about the Meeting House, if we look at 8 Conway Street, if we do nothing, essentially, Town Hall moves out, we clean this, maybe paint it, and that's it. Just to cover our expenses with that $10,000 a year in building repairs. we would be at a $21,000 rent. Another option is to put somewhere around $100,000 into it. And with that, we could do the paint, clean, pull out there's sort of walls were put in to divide these classrooms into offices. So in some of the spaces, pull those walls back out. And then look at what we can do for either replacing windows and or putting in like mini splits in those offices to get some cooling into the ones down this side. My impression is that this side's not too bad, right? Yeah, okay.
But not even that
No.
bad. No, it's
Okay.
really the baking on that stuff.
It's just this side is hot. So
Right, yeah.
not for 100,000.
You know-
And then, that's the other thing is that we would clean paint and we would upgrade this ramp. That would be the basic. Go ahead, Jim.
It just occurred to me that part of the temperature control problem might well be the result of subdividing the classrooms and
Could be.
interfering with airflow.
Could be
Because,
with the airflow.
I mean, as
not
far as
quite
I'm
right.
aware, that was not, I mean, was that a huge problem when this was a school, or did that only appear as it has become a town hall?
I mean, they weren't in here really in the summer either, so I don't know.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's still hot.
The other day, it was
70.
freezing out. It was baking in there. Good solar gain.
So could it be potentially fair to say that you could have the $21,000 set as your base to cover those 4 maintenance items?
Mhm.
And then divide the $100,000 amongst the 3 towns by their proportionate share and add that to the rent. Yeah, well, add
Yeah,
that
so
to the
this
rent,
would
that
like,
to the
yeah, we would increase the rent here to, I can't find my mouse, right here to cover that 100,000 and it would be, so my picture, but I'm not, like, I don't run the world. I don't decide this. But my mental image was that Deerfield would commit to and would pay for $100,000 worth of upgrades to this building that would be recouped over time through rent. And it would be like a 10-year thing before we were reimbursed for it. But I think, go ahead, Blake.
So I know you're talking about the figures and what you would get for this building and that sort of thing. Sunderland can't afford the one down at 112. What makes you think he could afford this building as well if we turn it a rent situation and that type of thing and turn that
Yeah.
around? Something that we can do?
Well, they're paying 30. This is actually, is this last year's numbers for this building? Where they are right now? That 31, 23, 828. I think the 23, 828 is 2.5% increase. I think the 7,900 is what they paid last year or what they had in their budget last year for utilities. So that's probably a little bit higher, but it's around 32,000 for where they are right now. So you're right. That would be an increase. It would be up to 40,000 to go in here right
The
now.
thing is, last year
And
they
they
were
can't
facing
use-
a 2.5 override. and
Right.
trying To
Right.
match the budget. So it's,
Yeah.
even these buildings here could be. a
Well,
problem.
the other thing is that this building's not available this year. It would be 27. So they would they would have to stay where they are right now
Yeah.
this year or go into the meeting house and then you'd move twice in 2 years, which seems
to
a
say,
little
though,
extreme too.
All you have to
but-
do in the meeting house is unlock the door.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to decide what they should do. I want to offer them options and let them decide, but so oops. Yeah. This is the All right, so I think what I heard is that oh, goodness gracious. All right. For meeting house, 11,000 as is right now. Move in tomorrow. We're okay with that while the repairs are going on.
Mhm.
And then this 40,000 should maybe be 44, so it's 4 times that for once the building is complete. Or do you want me to come back? I can come back with some estimate for,
We didn't,
Can you go to
somebody
the last
mention
page?
that we need
The summary.
better numbers.
what's that, Jim?
Wasn't there some discussion about how that was all just, that there was possibly some better numbers available on how much it would cost?
We don't have any idea what those repairs are gonna cost until the engineering is done, assuming that gets approved at town meeting. But I could come back. I mean, I just pulled $1 million out of my ear. I don't like, I just made up.
I am so glad this is going to be a subject of discussion for the multi-town meeting because this is extremely important. And it's going to be really important for us to understand where the other communities are at. So I'm just
Yeah.
really glad that's going to be discussed.
And it
Okay.
may take more than a couple, like a couple meetings to kind of.
Yeah.
Just get it started on the 30th.
You look at the total annual for Meeting House and 8 Conway Street. And there's like a $12,000, with the full building or minimal upgrade, there's $12,000 extra we're gonna pay for the Meeting House as opposed to here.
This
Here has
is-
more square feet.
Yeah.
It's
A lot of it is the parking. There's just.
Oh, yeah, it's
especially
true.
the
Yeah, the
libraries
parking,
over
right.
there.
That's
It's gonna
good
be
point.
really
Yeah.
difficult to be in there, but
but the Meeting House is the same parking.
that's what I mean. The parking at the meeting house, not
Oh, you're
great. I
saying-
mean,
Well,
other places.
It's
good,
not great
but-
here either.
No.
Right.
But
better than where they are.
better than
right
where
now.
they're at. They got
Yeah.
5 spots over there.
Well, that's true.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we will have time to talk about this with the other communities, but, if you look at 1,800 square feet versus 12,000 square feet as is, that's a huge difference, and all in one space with no elevator. If they move to 8 Conway Street, similar parking problems. We all of us know that we don't have 12 to 17 million to build a new building, and we don't have a place to put it. And so my objective is to let's find a place that works as best it can for the money we can afford until we can come up with a better plan for something. And that may be 112. It may be 8 Conway Street. And, I don't have that answer, and it's going to be the voters that decide. But we have to tell them the facts and give them the opportunity to make a wise decision.
so there was you asked a while back about a study. There was a not in-depth study looking at upgrading this building to be a senior center. It included infilling the floor, replacing the heating, ventilation, air conditioning, replacing all the windows, installing a sprinkler system, kitchen.
I'm not sure if it was included, but yeah, some upgrades in what
Some upgrades for the
staff
kitchen.
meeting,
Um,
lunchroom.
And it came to the neighborhood of $5 million. Which is a lot of money. So, we could, I didn't include that as an option. We could look at that as, one more option and what the rent would be to cover that. And that I think would be a 20-year borrowing at some rate. And I think that would end up being, I don't even know off the top of my head. Couple $100,000 a year? I don't know. Can figure it out.
Wait, chart. Oh, am I interrupting?
Go ahead.
The
Cliff.
chart says at the bottom sentence does not include, rent does not include utility janitorial service.
Right.
Yet up above, It says utilities. I'm confused.
The rent, we would charge them rent. And then on top of that, they would pay whatever the
Okay.
utilities are. This is an estimate of what the
Got it, okay.
utilities would be.
Got it, thanks.
So in their budget would be this, you know, this, whatever, this yellow line, whatever option was chosen. Plus janitorial, which I didn't figure out. It was just a step too far. You know. Okay.
The silences are getting
There's,
longer.
yeah, there's nothing to vote on. I was just looking for feedback and thoughts. So I guess I will write up what I think I heard tonight and send it to you guys, and you can do with it what you will. Any other questions or comments on this piece?
The multi-town finance select board meeting is going to be on March 30th?
Yes,
At what time?
5:30,
5:30, okay.
right here. It's our regular meeting. Right here. Isn't that handy? So my vision of that is going to be the person's South County EMS or South County Senior Center will present their budget. All three towns will be kind of in the audience. We will give 10 minutes per town to ask questions. We'll shoot for an hour total for South County EMS and then an hour for South County Senior Center. So after that 10 minutes, if there's still time open, we'll go back. And if there's any more questions or discussion, we'll go back to that.
Just
It's
a
kind of the-
just a quick note. So that meeting on the 30th is actually starting at 6 p.m.
Oh, it's at 6. Thank you.
Yep.
Oh. That helps my life out. Okay, thank you for that catch. So I'm feeling done with this building rental discussion unless anybody else has thoughts
Thank
or
you for
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upcoming meetings next Monday, 5:30, we'll do school budgets. You know what? They won't have voted the Deerfield Elementary School budget yet.
I thought they did already. Didn't they vote it? Yeah, they voted it. the
Did they
other
vote
night.
it?
I believe so, unless something happened. Darius and I went down to watch the girls play basketball.
Oh, okay,
I
good.
said, "Are you going to the meeting?" He said, "No, it's the same thing as before." So
All right, good.
I'm pretty sure they.
Okay, so we'll do school budgets. Capital, are you guys gonna be ready to talk capital? No, so we won't do capital. We'll talk road stabilization. The following Monday, I have 5:30 in here, but it's at 6, huh? 6. Okay.
Let me
We will
just
figure
double
that
check
out for
the
sure.
agenda
before-
on here.
Is that
Is
one
the
on the
group meeting.
23rd? Are you talking about the 23rd or the 30th?
The 30th.
Yeah, I had 6 in my calendar
6,
for the
okay.
30th.
It's posted
Good.
for 6.
Posted for 6. It's at 6. I'm just wrong on my little cheat sheet. Okay,
And then what do you
beautiful.
Big dinner so you can settle in for a long haul.
think of the 6th? At what, is there a meeting on the 6th as well?
Oh, yeah.
At what time is that?
5 p.m. because
5
we have to be out of here in time
Okay.
for the planning
Planning
board
board. Yep.
at 6:30.
Okay.
Because we still have to go through all the warrant articles and
Okay, right.
and we still have to like balance
Do
the
we-
budget too. So
Well, you know what? If you show up at the meeting on Wednesday at the select board, there might be something to look at.
okay.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor? It's unanimous.
Move the select board adjourn.
Second.
Like Gilmore, aye.
Tim Hilchi, aye.
Trevor McDaniel, aye. Thank you all
And
for
then the
coming.
meeting, I threw in,
Really?
yeah, they,
Such a pain. Once
is it you too?
No.
I don't have a clue, but I mean,
Oh,
there's
well,
all the little,
you'll see it
like,
for the rest of your life.
budget
That's
and-
my problem, that's one of the
Huh.
problems.
I've gone to other ones. It wasn't that bad.
Another password to remember.
Oh,
But then they gave me one, I kind of went online playing. So I said, okay, well, here's your username, we'll give you a password. I tried taking it on again, I couldn't. They don't have to read these. Really hard.
which one do you want to go to? The one in Hadley or the one?
Yeah,
in,
one
um,
tab.
yeah.
So you had that same experience?